Publishing Network Connection.
Welcome, Miss TianaNicole.Inc. to the Media Traffic TV show.
Thank you for having me, Tracy.
It's always wonderful to connect with you. And you're not just a client of mine, but you are so many things to so many people, Tiana. Can you just tell our viewing audience today a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do?
Yeah, totally. Well, as you mentioned, Tracy, I'm Tiana Nicole, author, entrepreneur. I'm a Jill of all trades. I wear a lot of hats. But my most prolific hat is that I'm a writer. I'm a writer at heart. I like to tell stories. I enjoy telling stories. I enjoy crafting stories, and I enjoy creating things that some of us just don't have an understanding for. I'm a when I don't have an understanding, I create an understanding, and
that's
sometimes
beautiful.
that's the best way to go, So, like I said, I'm an author. I'm a producer. I have a television show that I'm producing. I'm executively producing.
Okay, what's the name of your show?
Married to the Pen. Yes, and
that's clever.
Yes, it precedes me. It precedes my writing.
Okay.
It's a show that follows the lives of 5 veteran novelists, and we demonstrate how we're able to collaborate with one another, and just be collaborations and not competition, and just be connection for one another. What one lacks for others, takes that place. So,
sure.
Yeah, it's a really exciting project, but it all goes back to, like I said, it precedes what I do, which is writing.
So it's a natural extension, if you will,
yeah, it is.
Of your lifestyle. It sounds very interesting, and I'm sure that you will have more to share. So I won't dig too deep. Opportunity to tune in and kind of, ear hustle, if you will, on a conversation that we've been having. We just finished up a strategy call as an author, accomplished author, if you will, and a motivational empowerment speaker, entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful. And so how do you, when you undertake something like this, we had talked about how PR becomes very necessary.
Oh, yeah.
Because marketing is one thing all in and of itself. And you're very familiar with marketing, right? You've been doing a lot of that on your own.
Yes.
But you know that there's only so far that you can go.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're writing the stories and you're crafting the marketing content, someone has to talk about you.
Yes.
Someone has to help you present yourself in a way that audiences want to receive you, which is not directly from you, but round about you with media and public relationship exposure. So tell me a little bit about what today's session was like for you. You have just onboarded. You actually, today becomes your anniversary date for the first 30 days. You know what they say, anything you do 30 days becomes a habit.
Absolutely, yes.
So talk about your experience 30 days in with me as your prolific percentage publicist at Beneficence.com.
Totally. Well, definitely groundbreaking, honestly.
Okay.
Because as I mentioned previously, It's not just a media. You're not just a media representation. You've shown me some things and placed some things into perspective. And I'm a creator. I'm a curator. But even a curator can be inspired. So you showed me some things that it wasn't within my vision. It was out of focus.
Wow.
So this powwow this evening was everything. It was groundbreaking for me, and it opened up my perception to a lot of things. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To hear that something in our strategy session brought clarity to your creative process, if that's right, and the next move that you're going to make as you begin to reintroduce yourself with formal communications, then that's everything for me. And oftentimes, when people seek a publicist, they are looking at, okay, what you gonna get me? What kind of placements? What kind of, and they throw you out there. I'm sure you've heard it, right? Is she getting you out there? What does that mean when they say that? And do they understand what's the outcome of being thrown out there without a strategy?
Honestly, I think that, first of all, you have to prepare for what you're praying for. Simple. So it all lies on consistency. You have to be consistent with representation, with your foundation. Other than that, you just have bricks. So you have to be consistent in what you're putting out there. You have to be consistent in the message that you're trying to relay. Because other than that, you're being thrown in the lion's den, And
can you talk about that? Because you said during our strategy meeting this evening that mainstream media tear you up.
Oh yeah, they'll eat you alive. Like it's a Shark Tank. Mainstream media, they're like psychiatrists. They can see right through you. They know when you're amateur. Some of these individuals, they've been doing this for 20 years, 30 years, 25, 40 years. So they know an amateur when they see one. And the second that they smell fresh blood, they're going to attack. So that could harm you in the long run. If you have a publicist or some media representation that's just throwing you out there into the shark, rethink it. Do not continue to pay your money, because you get what you're paying for. Anyone who just wants to throw you out there and push you out there and throw you into that den or throw you into that tank, and you're fresh blood, and they're not taking the proper time that's needed to prepare you to swim with those sharks.
Thank you for sharing.
I don't even need to say the outcome, but it's not smart. It's just not smart. So anybody who's out there that's dealing with that, or experiencing that, where they're being pushed out there, you've been thrown into the spotlight. The lights are flashing, lights, camera, action, and suddenly you're stuck. You're frozen. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You don't know what direction to walk, because you haven't been prepared. You haven't been prepped. So media representation should not only consist of worrying about, getting on WGN or Wendy Williams or Oprah Winfrey or the OWN Network. You should be concerned, and it should consist of coaching. It's almost like media training. It goes hand in hand. It ties together.
And you are on, I have 3 plans, and of course you are in my most popular, which is the MVP PR star. So you are someone that has had experience. You're definitely an accomplished woman. You have had some media exposure experience, but you know that there's something special and unique about you and what you do, and that you can actually, benefit from more awareness and a more aggressive, if you will, exposure plan and process. Could you just, for our viewers, give them some insight into your background as a professional? Because part of your story is coming from a six-figure place.
Oh yeah, totally.
In the corporate world. So hey, you start out as Miss Success.
Yes.
So share a little bit about that.
Well, before I was writing for a few years, and of course, we all have this stigma attached to us where corporate America is a sure thing, a paycheck is a sure thing, So throughout my merge into like the literary industry, I continued to work for corporate America because I was afraid of the fear of the unknown. I didn't want to let go of what was familiar to me, which was a steady and consistent paycheck. Until one day I realized, I said, you know what, I'm giving this thing my all. I'm giving this job like 12 hours a day. And it became to the point where I was beginning to lose focus, of the dream. And it will be times where I would literally, because at the time I was working in Oak Brook. I was coming from the city, and I was so passionate about my writings that at 6 a.m. I would write on the train. And in between that time, like that was time for me to get my thoughts out, put my headphones on and just zone out and just go into a sunken place with the world. I would ride on the train, 1.5 hours on my way to work, a commute. I would write on my lunch break for an hour, like every single
consistent.
I was consistent. Another hour and a half commuting back home, I would ride on the train during rush hour, so that way I was still getting that 4 or 5 hours in between, writing.
And optimizing and
maximizing the moments. Yes, exactly. And suddenly one day I felt as if that passion was beginning to leave me. It was becoming draining for me to continue that commute and write. And I said, well, you know what? I said, this job is paying me a ton of money, literally almost 6 figures, and a couple $1,000s shy of it, basically 6 figures. And I was beginning to lose focus of what I love to do, and because I'm a curator and I'm a creator and I create understandings for things I don't understand, I was beginning not to understand a lot of things. Because I wasn't creating understanding for me.
Wow.
And one day I just had this epiphany. I went into work and I sat at my desk. I sat in my office and I called my husband and I said, today is the day. And nothing had happened. It was about 7:30 a.m. that morning. And he thought I was joking, because I had said so many times prior, I was going to leave. It was draining my craft. And I said, today's the day. And I gathered my belongings and I never looked back.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so now you're here, an accomplished author of several titles.
Yes.
What are the names of your books, Ms. Tiana?
Well, of course, I write both fiction and nonfiction. So my first publication, my freshman novel it's titled Deceitful Temptation.
Okay.
That's a fiction novel. And then I have Vengeance is Sweeter Than Candy. That's also a fiction novel. And last but not least, I have The Sacred Bond of Matrimony. That's a fiction novel.
Okay.
So, and all of those novels, they all tie back to women who have been hurt, and, they start off in these difficult places or these difficult situations, and then they end up at the end of the story, you know, I turn these characters into these strong characters, very strong characters.
Yes.
Who build themselves somehow. They found a way out of nothing.
All right.
Books, you know, they tie into empowerment, which led me to write nonfiction to empower women in reality, you know, and
sure.
you know
love that as well.
Yeah, you know, so although they're fiction and they aren't real in their fictional characters, they touch so many people, you know, because they are relatable. There's so many women that are broken, you know.
Oh, come on now.
You know,
you feel it, and I can just feel when each time that I talk to you, but especially today, we had such a breakthrough today. That I just feel that a book is a tool you can put in their hand when you're not with them.
Yes.
But you want to be in their presence. You want to speak to them.
Yes.
Speak some life into them.
Yes.
You want to steer them into a better place.
Yes. Push them into their purpose. You know,
that's where I'm going. Yeah.
So that's important.
It is important.
Very important, you know. So, you know, writing the fictional books, it took me into a place where I said, you know what, this is happening in real life. This is reality for a lot of women, you know, and it definitely steered my decision to because I'm versatile. It steered my decision to cross over and write nonfiction, you know, and that's what led me to write "You're Not the Boss of Me" and "Boss Up or Get Bossed Over," you know. So, and those are both
incredible titles. And I'm reading one of them right now, so I'll be looking forward in upcoming episodes to bring you back to the media traffic,
totally,
which is all about, you know, I'm PR directing media traffic to help people disrupt out of control communications. We are pushing out marketing, putting out, you know, Instagram photos, and just trying to get, you know, I want to say, stimulate people to give us attention. But we need to be giving people something with when we get their eyeballs. What are we asking them to look at?
Right.
Are we going to say with those images and with those few characters that we get, sometimes in only 140?
That's true.
What can we concisely deliver in a clear message that will cause them to click and connect with all these values that we share with them, so that we can deliver a quality experience? Let's keep it real. We're all on, most of us are on social media. That is the way that our content is going. It's the way that we consume our information now. Even our news, you know, is going live streaming at a click.
Right.
So you can, instead of turning on your TV to find out what's on the news, it pops up unless you know it's going live. And so since this is where we're getting our information, it is so crowded a space that we can't hold on to all the good things sometimes that are out there, and that becomes a challenge for women and entrepreneurs like yourself that are saying, I am absolutely wanting to reach you.
Yeah.
Those who are listening to you today, who have connected, I don't see how they couldn't. Pinch yourself, make sure you're still here, and say, I want to meet you. I want your book. Is it on Amazon? Yes, it is. Can they get it from you directly? Can they find out what's going on with you next? And that's where I'm here to serve. So I make sure that all these things that you are putting together for them and planning, and thank you so much for being transparent and even sharing that experience, that they can watch you as you make this introduction and watch you evolve and put out what you have invested to make sure they are getting accurate information about you and something that will communicate value.
Exactly.
When they take time to click, you have something of substance and something valuable in order to give them. Do you have any questions for me or any comments that you can share that I can answer during this episode that you think might help someone else that's viewing about being on the fence, about taking that step with PR?
I would definitely say that the question that I would ask the most is, what are some of the biggest misconceptions of a media representation? You know, what do people normally, what's the difference from what people expect and what people should expect, or what people will get?
Okay, so that's a great question. I'd love to answer that. One of the biggest misconceptions is what we have bought into from mass rhetoric. We touched on this. Oh, you got a publicist now, so where can I find you at? Where can I see you at? Where do they have you? Are they getting you out there? There is no such thing as when you retain a publicist becoming an overnight media sensation. Even though you might be all that and a bag of sweet and salty potato chips.
Right.
Come on, the cheddar cheese popcorn from Garrett's Chicago
Right.
with caramel inside.
Right.
No one knows that yet but you. The publicist is getting to know that about you. And they need to, together, you and that representative, to develop a way to introduce those qualities about you over time. And I would say the biggest misconception also is that going along with that you don't have to build a relationship. Get the media placement, get on the radio, promote, and then step away and say you've been there and you did that.
Exactly.
There's a misconception. Because with that kind of exposure comes vulnerability. And then when you're asking and you're promoting and asking for a transaction, which is marketing, you have to have accountability. And there are people that are going to want to go and check you out. PR helps you take care of all of those things up front. It helps you think about answering the questions that they would have about you and saying, hey, look, I'm genuine. I am on these outlets or on these platforms to present, show up in person, and present my authentic self to you and tell you, please investigate.
Right, right.
Here are my accomplishments. Here are my awards. Now, you don't necessarily want to be pushing that, but newspapers would not sell. Magazines would not have subscriptions. We would not subscribe and follow blogs, listen to podcasts, tune into these special live radio sessions if people didn't enjoy and value hearing someone else present you.
Correct.
It's the way that we like to receive our information about others that we're interested in, rather than they get up all in your face.
Right, right.
And say, just take me.
Yeah.
It's like courting. I know that's kind of a dated term, but for those of you all who are millennials, it's like caking it.
I know, totally. I agree.
Come on, you want it. You don't just come out and meet your public and say, okay, let's get booed up. Let's do this. Public relations and communications is a discourse that in the most professional way that I can put it, an inter-exchange, an interconnectedness, and an information intercourse where both parties, whoever is the person the information is being exposed to and the person doing the exposed or being exposed, they are exchanging some things. And to think that you can just come aboard with no character, nothing to indicate trust, and definitely not having bringing values to the table for that exchange to occur is a misconception, for sure. And the biggest one is to think that it's supposed to cause you to increase financially. Focus on the marketing for that, and then let the public relations, which is, if it's effective, will do a fabulous job of positively impacting your bottom line, because now you've taken time to really provide the unmet psychological needs that your audience will have for acting on your market. So if you can see, if I put it that way, it's extremely valuable.
I agree.
Okay? Because if you are just acting on a gimmick or a promotion and it lets you down, well, you didn't have all the information you need. You just had an ad presented to you. And 70% of ads are being ignored.
Wow.
Something else you may like to know is that, and those who are viewing, is that millennials are actually a growing news content consumer demographic. They make up almost 40% of populations who are actual consumers, who are news consumers, who are paying for their news. Now, anytime we putting our money on that kind of communication, we want the real thing. So this is also a wonderful time to stand out and stand apart. You ever heard that term? Fake didn't know fake till real showed up.
Oh, yes, I have.
It's no different with news.
That's true.
Just the facts, man. So I applaud you.
Thank you.
For making that investment in the value that you're bringing through your entrepreneurial endeavors, and also being generous enough and transparent enough to be able to share that process with others, that they can also come up together. And if they need a little help with that, they could certainly reach out to you, couldn't they?
Absolutely, yes. So.
Now, where can they reach out to you and connect with you so that they can build a relationship as you're growing, but maybe you can, offer them something as well to help them along?
Oh, yeah, totally. And, I think that it's easier and it's more beneficial for individuals to come along and come aboard the ride and watch me grow. We grow together,
Sure, I love that.
We grow together, and you watch the process unfold so that you can see that the dream is not far.
Yes.
So definitely I love to tell everybody, follow my social media handles. All across the board, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tiana Nicole. I also have a Facebook Connect with the Author page. It keeps readers up to the minute, up to the beat of where I am, what I'm doing, what to expect next. You know, I'll be
Wonderful.
things up for you guys. So, you know, definitely if you want to stay up to the beat with what I'm doing, connect with the author Facebook page. That's a good way.
Share some of these handles, if you would please, or would you prefer that I post them on the screen for our viewers?
Well, we can post them on the screen. You can share. We give a double whammy. You know, that way we make
okay. There they go, right now.
Yes.
See, I can do it. I can do things just like that.
Yes, totally.
Okay.
That's the beauty of a media representation. They have magic. So Tracy makes it happen.
I don't know about that. I'm not ashamed to say without God, I couldn't do any of this.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's me being my best me, allowing what I believe is my divine creator to give me these gifts and abilities to be able to help someone else do what they do better. It's all about optimizing our lives and definitely living our purpose. I think we all want to find that sweet spot of purpose. And then when we find ourselves in that groove, I mean, party like, you know,
like
it ain't gonna stop. It ain't gonna stop. And PR is a party for me. I love what I do for you all. Can you tell? I mean, I'm in this thing for you all to win it. And as I said, every day I can be found from sunrise to sunset, seeking that spotlight, looking at the different angles and ways that I can present you, and always on the scene where things are happening, things are good happening, and I can introduce you to people who do need to know what it is that you're doing, and the places that you're going, growing, and glowing, shining, be a star you. So thank you so much for joining, and we hope to have you back really, really, really soon.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Hey there, this is Tracy Bond, your Media Traffic TV show host, and I'd love for you to become my next upcoming guest or an advertiser or sponsor of the Media Traffic Show. Send me an email to mediatrafficshow@gmail.com today.